When I look at people trying to break into tech sales, I see the same mistakes over and over again. And honestly, most of them are completely avoidable. I made some of them myself when I was starting out. I've seen dozens of people that I've coached run into the same exact roadblocks. So in this video, I want to walk you through the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to land their first tech sales job. And more importantly, of course, how you can avoid them. The first mistake, not getting any basic training or skills. Look, tech sales doesn't require a PhD, right? You don't need a fancy degree. That's the beauty of it. But just because it's accessible doesn't mean you can stroll in totally unprepared and expect to stand out. The truth is, you're not only competing with other beginners, you're competing with working sales reps, people who perhaps have already been working in sales who are now trying to pivot into tech. When I was looking for my first sales job, I didn't just show up clueless. I was watching videos, I was reading books. How to Win Friends and Influence People was one of them, I remember. I was talking to friends who were already working in sales. I just wanted to absorb like a sponge as much as I possibly could. And I get it, you're busy. Maybe you already have a job, a family, 100 other things pulling at you. But if you really want this, you've got to carve out time, even if it means just half an hour a day. Because what gets you hired in sales isn't a credential. It's your soft skills and some basic sales acumen. You've got to show up sharp. That means being able to talk the talk, knowing the jargon, understanding common methodologies, knowing how a discovery call works. You should be able to handle a simple objection without melting down. You should know what makes a cold email pop instead of sounding like every other automated message clogging inboxes. And if you're shooting for account executive roles, the closing roles, you should at least understand the basics of how to run a successful product demo. These aren't nice to haves, they're must haves. And by the way, if you're new here, quick context on who I am. I've been in tech sales for over 12 years. I've closed millions in deals, won awards like President's Club and CEO's Excellence, and I've coached people from all sorts of backgrounds, teachers, lawyers, retail managers, you name it, into their first tech sales jobs. I built a video course to help fast track that process, but more on that later. The point is, I've seen exactly what works and what doesn't when you're trying to step in. And the good news is you don't need to drop thousands to learn the basics. YouTube alone has so much already, and I'll be uploading a lot more here to help you practice those fundamentals. And if you're someone who doesn't want to waste time piecing it all together, that's where structured programs come in. Fast track, get it done, boom. But bottom line, don't show up empty-handed. The second mistake, only applying on LinkedIn or Indeed. I get it. It feels like you're doing something when you click apply. You get that little dopamine hit like, hey, I'm being productive. But let's be blunt, that's what everyone else is doing. And for 90% of people, those resumes just disappear into a black hole in the universe somewhere. Honestly, you might as well print your CV, fold it into a paper plane, and throw it out the window because the odds are about the same. The people who stand out are the ones who go further. They follow up. They reach out to hiring managers, to HR, to recruiters, to someone on the team. That's how you actually get noticed in 2025. And don't worry, in future videos, I'll share specific ways to do this even if you don't have sales experience. But just know this, if your entire strategy is clicking apply and waiting, you're playing the wrong game. Which brings me to mistake number 3. Not using referrals. Referrals are pure gold in tech sales. They're your best friends. On LinkedIn, check your mutual connections. Ask yourself, who can vouch for me? You'd be surprised how many people are happy to help if you just ask nicely. One of my own roles came this exact way. My husband's very good friend worked at a company I was applying for, and he put my name forward. And that's all it took to open the door. And listen, if you don't have a husband's best friend to bail you out for this specific position, it's fine. That's what your network is for. Use it. People actually love helping. You'll be surprised, especially if they can later brag about how they got you into tech sales. Now, mistake number 4 is one that really frustrates me. Not salesifying your resume. I've seen amazing candidates get totally ignored just because a resume didn't scream sales. One of my clients worked in fashion. Her titles were things like fashion coordinator or brand manager, and to a recruiter in sales, to an ATS system scanning for keywords, it looked irrelevant. But when we reframed it into sales language, client relationship manager, retail sales associate, brand partnership manager, suddenly it clicked. Same exact work, different packaging. Within 3 weeks, yes, 3 weeks, she had interviews lined up and landed her first SDR job. That's the difference. Honestly, sometimes it's not that you need more experience or anything, you just need better marketing. And yes, that applies to you too. Mistake number 5 is leaving out achievements. Too many people just list responsibilities, manage a team, handle customers. That's not what stands out. Achievements do. When I applied for my very first tax sales job, I remember the hiring manager told me at a later stage, what made me call you wasn't your experience, which I had none of. It was the fact you included your academic achievements, your ballroom dancing competitions, even your classical piano background. Why? Because that shows grit, discipline, drive, it shows character, and sales leaders love that. So if you've got awards, honors, or anything that demonstrates you can commit and win, put it on your resume. Seriously, don't hold back. This is not the time to be humble. Mistake number 6 is applying too little and losing momentum. This one's simple, but it kills opportunities. People apply to 5 jobs, hear nothing, get discouraged, stop. Look, searching for a job is a job. You've got to treat it that way. Keep your momentum up, keep the pipeline flowing, and maybe even more important, work on your mindset, because sales is tough. Even after 12 years, mindset is everything to me, guys. I'll give you an example. I had my best quarter ever when I was selling chatbot solutions a few years ago. I was on fire, best quarter of my life. And the next quarter, nothing. It was like the Sahara Desert. I was feeling kind of miserable. No deals moving. As a perfectionist, that crushed me. I felt like I was letting my manager down, letting myself down, but I kept pushing, almost mechanically. I kept showing up. And by the end of that quarter, yes, it wasn't my best one, but it was solid. That taught me one of the most important lessons in sales. Don't get too emotional. Don't ride the highs too high or the lows too low, because sales is a marathon. You have to keep your energy steady or you'll burn out super quickly. So to wrap this up, the biggest mistakes I see are not learning the basics, only applying online, ignoring referrals, not tailoring your resume, leaving out achievements, and losing momentum. If you avoid these, you'll already be ahead of most of the people trying to step into tech sales. And remember, in my upcoming videos, I'll walk you through the actual tactics and breakdown of these, how to follow up with hiring managers, how to reframe your resume, how to ace the simulations. And if you're serious about fast tracking this whole process, check out my full tech sales video program. It's built to help you land your first role in as little as 1 to 2 months. And it's not just fluff or scripts and theory. It's deep, real-world insight from over 12 years as a top-performing account executive. The kind of insider stuff that makes you sound like you've been in sales for years, even on your very first day.